be more making fun of that comment. I don't think the Vikings are that benevolent where they're like, oh, please go out and search,
Can you
search for a
believe they
better
didn't
life.
let Justin Jefferson do
Yeah,
that? He didn't think he had earned it.
He wasn't on a prove-it deal. He got drafted by them.
I would imagine first of all, you got to believe in J.J. McCarthy, or at least have a pretty strong feeling that he's going to come back from the injury and be what you hope he can be. And then secondly, I imagine there's probably not as big a market for Sam Darnold as he may hope, and he's earned. So otherwise, you would franchise him with the idea that you'd franchise him, provided there were two other suitors that you could then trade his rights to and hopefully get something back. The problem with franchising him and taking that chance is it eats up $40 million of cap space. They've only got $60 million, so it hinders their ability to do anything else while they're holding that place to see whether
that piece I just want to make sure people understand. If they franchise him and then trade him, once he's traded, you get that cap space back.
Right.
But in the meantime, it's gone.
Yeah, it hurts you
and
in
so,
free agency.
right. So it is, of all the positions to franchise and trade, quarterback's obviously the hardest because the number is so much higher. When the Chiefs did it with L'Jarius Sneed, that number's $19 million. You can figure that out in the short term easier than this. But go ahead.
No, and they got a lot of holes, both the offensive and defensive line in the backfield, backfield. Aaron Jones, they want to try to re-sign him. That's money. But here's what I do, they should do. I would not franchise him either because I need to fill holes elsewhere. Offer him a one-year deal, 25 to 30 million. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And only reason I wouldn't do that if I'm the Vikings is if Daniel Jones really looked so good in practice that it was like,
but
you
why
thinking
would
he
Sam
can do.
take that, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what he gets on the market.
He's going to get
If
more
he
than
gets
a
a better
one-year deal.
Okay, then take that. But if I'm the Vikings, that's all I'm doing because J.J. McCarthy might not be ready. And if Darnold were come in on a $25 or $30 million deal, they battle it out in practice. And if J.J. beats it,
that he'll take a one-year deal. I think it's going to take a minimum of a two-year commitment.
And I said this during the season before his last two bad games. If I'm another team, unless I have the same system as like Shanahan and O'Connell, I am not giving him a multi-year big money deal because this dude has had 6 or 7 years of bad football play, and 1 year doesn't outshine that.
In fairness to him, he was 4-2 in Carolina.
I
did say that in the preseason.
He was.
When he started.
His numbers
he had
weren't
a winning
great, but they
record
were
in Carolina.
He took the job from Baker.
The precedent kind of has been.
He did.
I'm glad you brought up Baker. One really good year gets you a 3-year deal at this position.
But
that's
Baker
how Geno got it. That's how Baker got it.
Don't you think Geno showed a little more than Darnold earlier in his career? I'm not talking about right away, but early. And Baker had some nice years.
Yes, but then he had multiple teams give up on him. I know you wanted to go Wilds.
First of all, don't look at my papers.
Wilds.
Since I came back from vacation,
he been stealing your
takes.
I just know. Can I tell you something? I don't steal your takes, but I do listen to you on the morning call, and I know you're now about to throw up some graphic explaining how actually Sam Darnold's awesome.
Bro,
you're talking about the wins.
Can we throw up my Sam Darnold's awesome graphic, please? I'm just saying.
Oh,
he's got him on a graphic with 84 Marinos.
Hey.
Okay. You know, this is a unfortunate situation because, you know, you're having a table of guys who don't really believe in Sam Darnold talk about what should happen to Sam Darnold. And then they laugh and joke about a graphic like this, but they want to pretend like it's some easy, nonchalant thing to be able to accomplish. And it's just not. It's just not. This idea that, you could just throw any old quarterback on the Vikings and they would have had this success it's just fundamentally false. It just is. And all of a sudden now this Minnesota Vikings team is just stacked. They were just elite every step of the way. So like, and Kevin O'Connell is just the most brilliant coach in the history of the world. So Sam Darnold gets no credit. He gets no credit. It's just ridiculous. It really is. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that Sam Darnold deserves all the credit. I'm not saying that he dragged this bad coach and bad team. I'm not saying that at all. I think it was a really good team and a really good coach, or a great team, great coach, whatever words you want to use. But to downplay what Sam Darnold did is it's just absurd. And this is the frustrating part about the offseason. And I keep talking about this because it just keeps coming up. I guess I keep waiting for things to kind of settle, and I guess we're too far away from things settling. Because one minute I hear a clip saying, oh, they're working on a long-term deal for Sam Darnold. The next clip I hear is, they want to move on from Sam. And then you hear Brew come up and say, I'd offer him a 1 year. And you're like, what are you talking about? For like $20 million. Like, what? Okay, sure. Like, what are we, like, what does that even mean? That's not actually real football talk right now. I'd love to pay a quarterback $7 and a bag of Fritos. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Like, it's just absurd. Well, he's had 6 bad years. Can we stop with that nonsense take already? Seriously. Move on. Move on. Are you the same person, Brew, that you were 6 years ago? Yes or no? Tell me right now. Guarantee you he will say no. So it's just absurd. Again, how many times do I have to say this? We're judging him based on what he did with the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers? Then the one time he finally goes to a highly run franchise and he puts up 14 plus wins and 4,000 passing yards? And we're just going to act like that's nothing? Guys, it's just so absurd. It really is. It really, really is. And he had big time wins in big time moments, coming up big. He played awesome against the Detroit Lions that first game. He did. He did. He put them in a position to win. No doubt about it. He beat the Packers, who had a great defense. He beat the Texans, who had a great defense. He beat playoff teams. He played great against other playoff teams. He got pressured endlessly against the Rams that final game, the playoff game, and against the Lions that final game. What happened when Patrick Mahomes got pressured? He didn't look too good. Josh Allen, you guys know I'm super high on Josh Allen. He didn't play so good against the Texans. Every single game this season, Lamar was perfect. I don't know about that. Lamar didn't have such a great first half against the Bills. So this holding Sam up. First off, we shouldn't even hold Sam Darnold to the standard of like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Because if you're expecting him to be that great, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, we should hold Patrick Mahomes up to a higher standard and say he should play better in the Super Bowl because it's Patrick Mahomes. People were talking about him being better than that guy right there, Tom Brady. So yeah, he shouldn't be held to the same level and the same standard as a Sam Darnold. That's obvious. But what we keep doing, we do this all the time. It's like if you're not Patrick Mahomes, if you're not Tom Brady, well then you're nothing. You're worthy of a $20 million 1 year deal because of reasons. It's just absurd. Well, we have 6 years of him with the New York Jets. The New York Jets. It's becoming like an absurd take at this point. And then this is what happens when you get married to your take. You watch an entire season of him playing great and you keep doubting him and doubting him. He has 2 bad games where he was being pressured and sacked like 9 times, like endless amount of times. And you then say, see, that's the real him. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Like, this is the graphic that Colin put up. First 16 games, 14-2, 68.1 completion percentage, 35-12 touchdown interception ratio, a 106.4 rating. In the last 2 games, we're not good. Absolutely, I agree with that. but those 16 games were just nothing, and those last 2 games were everything. Well, those were the playoffs, and this, yeah, lots of quarterbacks looked bad in the playoffs and played poorly. A lot of them. That's just a fact. That's a fact. Patrick Mahomes had a couple games, looked awful. Josh Allen, far from flawless. Lamar Jackson, far from flawless. CJ Stroud looked unbelievable? No. How about my God, why can't I think of his name right now? Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert looked great? No. Pretty sure Baker Mayfield fumbled and cost his team a playoff win. Jared Goff looked great? Or was he frazzled and razzled against that Washington Commanders team when he was at home with a high-powered offense? Jalen Hurts got sacked I think 6 times against the Rams. Okay. So, what does that mean? We just want to put all the eggs in the basket of those final 2 games? No. Absolutely not. And Kevin O'Connell deserves blame for that as well. Can't be all on Sam Darnold. He gave him no answers from the Lions game when that aspect of their offense was exposed. He gave them no answers from that game to the Rams game. That same Rams defense went after Jalen Hurts, went after him. And that's with a great O-line. One of the best O-lines in the NFL. And yet he was sacked multiple times, pushed out of field goal range, etc., etc. And that guy went on to become the Super Bowl MVP, who had one of the best Super Bowl performances of all time, dominating the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you want to be so emphatic and confident that Sam Darnold, outlier, blah, 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 move on from him, that's not the wisest move. You don't have to be so married to a take, quite frankly. Just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. This whole back and forth with Sam Darnold and the Vikings is just getting weirder by the second, honestly. They obviously want to get a good... it feels to me that maybe the Vikings wanted to get a good deal for Sam. And, they don't want to overpay for him. So they maybe want to see what the market value is. So then they can give him something right around there. Because it does feel that they do want to keep Sam Darnold. But at what cost? And at what timeline? At what length? That to me is the bigger question. But I'm sorry. My brain just starts to smoke when I hear things like, well, I'd offer him a 1-year, $25 million deal. Okay. Sure. Whatever you say. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Sam Darnold potentially moving on from the Minnesota Vikings? Or, what should the Vikings want to do with Sam? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.